Good morning, everyone. How are you today? I hope you are well and good right now. I am Nikki Vanessa Anshuting, your teacher for Trends, Network, and Critical Thinking. Welcome to our fourth quarter, second week. Today, we will be discussing about democratic intervention and political institution. We have here the learning objectives. Number 1. Describe the political democracy, explain the political institution, and assess democratic interventions prevailing in political institutions. What is political democracy? It is a political power exercise in a nation which is fairly contributed and shared by the people. The citizens have the right to legislate through performing the rights and suffrage and delegate the serving representative for a certain position. This means the people carries exclusive right to directly or indirectly participate in political system. What is political institution? Political institutions are government organizations that intended to establish, enforce, and implement laws in a state. Their function is to negotiate conflicts, create political policies, uphold economic stabilities, and promote social and cultural systems, including population concerns. What is democratic intervention? It is a political association being established to empower and protect pro-government ideas that aims to uphold widely and democratization of the country. So we have 4 democratic intervention in politics. Number 1. Political corruption. One of the undemocratic practices that is present in political system, it can be hibernate social ills that suddenly haunt society in the world. The reason why people are dissatisfied with their leadership is because they forgot to provide necessary needs of the people, including their safety, protection from fast-growing economic change, and failure to include them in their programs and other project implementations. Number 2. Basic needs. Poverty and hunger are 2 the common complaints by most of the societies if these unable to undertake and solve. The agony between the rich and poor is continuing to grow, and there is a mechanism that leads to create extra activities like prostitution, robbery, human trafficking, and drug syndicate just to survive from the said problem. And then association. This includes democratic biases that weakens the traditional family, bond, and kinship, which were discouraged to exist by putting pressures of work, migration, and urbanization. There is a huge distance of government in providing assistance and concern to the ordinary citizens that causes a low amount of livelihood, support, and lead leaders to a highly corrupt and self-centered inefficient head of a state. And then participation. Active participation of citizens is imperatively effective in promoting democratic practices in the country. People engagement in various collective action to executive voluntary services can help tackle and solve problems. Exercising our responsibility in political processes determines that we work together, collide each other, and ensure to one another that we have one common goal to achieve. And then democratic intervention in social institutions. What is social democracy? It is a political pattern adhering a continuous and people transition of capitalist and socialist practices by organizing democratic welfare. What is social institution? It characterizes a gradual mechanism to build up social order that emphasizes on achieving societal needs and stabilities like family, education, healthcare, religion, economy, and government. Their function is to collaborate and unite in order to come up with one purpose and goal. They also contribute a lot in making society and people work together to attain democratic principles and practices. Social intervention. These are programs designed addressing social welfare and develop human status of living to alleviate poverty, ensure public health, child protection, nutritional care, financial assistance, literacy, and employment. Social intervention can be any of the following. Number 1. Social welfare. To equip the status of living and securing the earning stability of every citizen. Number 2. Safety net. To ensure and provide the best possible support among people in times of hardship and other unpredictable crises. Number 3. Social protection. Making a set of programs and projects to alleviate poverty and vulnerability factors, promote efficiency of labor markets, avoid participation or engagement of people to risk, developing their capability to safety or protect themselves against unidentified hazards, including crimes, trafficking, discrimination, and even inadequate income. Democratic practices. It is the interpretation on the things that happen every day in communities. Citizens have prior concern to make this routine or event become open. However, this does not mean that people have to do anything. They just have to do the normal in different ways. If the routine business of politics is done in ways that are open to citizens, the routines can become more democratic practices. These practices are reflected in ordinary people asking one another when something threatens their well-being. Examples of democratic practices. Number 1. Freedom of speech. The ability to express thoughts, opinion, ideas, and perception freely. And then, exclusiveness and equality. The practice of embracing and accepting all types of people in the society and treating them with fair and just. Number 3. Suffrage. This is the right of a citizens to exercise the process of voting to any political elections. The foundation of every healthy democracy, ensuring the government authority derives from the will of the people. Number 4. Citizens' participation is a process that gives person a chance to make positive effects through public decision and can take initiative to improve quality of life, work, and relationship between society and government. Number 5. Right to life. The right to live harmoniously in the society, that no one has the right to punish, kill, or destroy sanctity of living. Number 6. Minority rights. The rights subject of members of ethnic groups, religious groups, gender and sexual circles. And then number 7. constitutional government is defined by the existence of constitution, which may be a legal instrument or merely a set of fixed norms or principles generally accepted as the fundamental law of polity that effectively controls the exercise in political power. Undemocratic practices. It is a complete decision that process that is being held and manipulated by one individual or few members of the society rather than by many. Examples of undemocratic practices. Number 1, drug war. Number 2, extrajudicial killing. And then general inequality. And then racial discrimination. And then the last one, vote buying. So, the three effects of undemocratic practices. There is a failure of community, government agencies, the family, and the absence of census in emerging honest principles of the laws of voluntary association in the world today. Democratic participation is the empowerment of people to effectively involve themselves in creating structures, designing policies, and programs that serve the interests of all. A significant element of a kid's society is a demand for participation in the government. Democratic participation is built on the popular support and full participation of people. So we have the effect of undemocratic practices. Number 1, poverty, a state of being insufficient in needs and shows inferiority in many manners. Number 2, gender bias, an unfair and unequal treatment of one gender to another. It shows prejudice or preference towards a person's identity. Number 3, political marginalization, a social exclusion or disadvantage to the growth and development of society. Number 4, racial inequality. It is a practice and belief that groups of people are identified as one is superior and possess high standard of physical trait than appearance. Number 2, cultural domination. It means that culture dominating other culture by overtaking its economy, policy, and behavioral aspects. Number 6, crisis of representation. The co-occurrence of the financial crisis and the exposure of the political class riddled with corruption reveals a starkly on state wherein a crisis of representation. Number 6, politics of recognition. Define our identity always in dialogue with, sometimes struggle against the things are significant others want to see in us. That's all. Any questions, clarifications, additions? So if you don't have any questions, please proceed or open your learning path to answer your activity at www.gaitf.com or contact or call me at 0926-2974685. Thank you and God bless.